Julia Matthews wasn't the type to have an affair. At least, that's what she told herself every day of her 10-year marriage to Ethan, a man as dependable as a Swiss watch and almost as thrilling. Their life was a portfolio of neat achievements: a custom-built home, a marriage polished for social media, and Ethan's rising tech company that devoured most of his time. So when Julia met him on a conference trip in Chicago, it felt harmless at first. His name was Cole Harrington. Tall, sharp-suited, and exactly the kind of man who didn't belong in her carefully curated world. They met at the hotel bar, a casual exchange over a drink that escalated into a heated weekend affair. With Cole, Julia felt seen alive. They agreed it ended there. No names, no numbers. A fantasy locked in Chicago. Until Monday, Julia walked into Ethan's launch party and nearly dropped her champagne. Standing beside Ethan, shaking hands with investors, was Cole. "Jules," Ethan called cheerfully, beckoning her over. "Meet my new business partner, Cole Harrington." Cole's eyes flicked to hers, a spark of recognition veiled beneath his charming smile. "Pleasure," Cole murmured, his handshake firm. Lingering, Julia forced a smile. A scream echoed in her chest. The weeks that followed were a slow spiral into a nightmare. Cole played the perfect partner. Innovative, charismatic, the key to Ethan's dream expansion. But in every private glance, every offhand remark, Cole let Julia know their secret was his weapon. "You wouldn't want Ethan to find out, would you?" Cole whispered once at charity gala, his hand ghosting her back as cameras flashed. "I could destroy him. And you." Julia tried to reason, beg, even threaten back. But Cole only smiled. He wasn't after her. He was after control. So she did what she always did. She hid. Until the night Cole made a mistake. It was a Thursday. Ethan was in New York on business. Julia arrived home to find Cole sitting in her living room. "You invited yourself in?" she snapped. Cole leaned back, casual. "I told you. I'm part of your life now. Get out." He tilted his head. "Or you'll tell Ethan? Please. We both know you won't." That's when Julia smiled. "Actually, I don't have to." Cole frowned, the first crack in his arrogance. "What?" Julia reached into the drawer by the fireplace and dropped the folder onto the table. "I know why you partner with Ethan. I know your real name isn't Cole Harrington. And I know about the offshore accounts you've been bleeding his company into for the last 3 months." Cole went pale. "You played the wrong woman," Julia said, voice low. "I wasn't just a bored housewife. I'm the silent partner. Half the shares, all the access." She leaned closer. "Walk away now, and I'll bury this. Stay, and you'll rot in a federal cell before the ink dries on your next wire transfer." Cole stared at her, calculating. Then, slowly, he stood. "This isn't over." Julia smirked. "It is for you." Ethan returned home that weekend, none the wiser. Cole announced a sudden withdrawal from the partnership, citing personal reasons. Julia kissed her husband, smiled for the cameras, and tucked the folder back into her safe. Some secrets weren't meant to ruin marriages. Some were meant to protect them. For the next few weeks, life returned to its picture-perfect rhythm, at least on the surface. Ethan was relieved to be rid of Cole, chalking it up to a personality clash and vaguely citing vision misalignment to the board. Julia played the supportive wife, organizing dinner parties, cheering him on at investor meetings, and keeping her secrets buried beneath designer smiles. But beneath her composed exterior, Julia remained on high alert, because men like Cole didn't just walk away. And he hadn't. It started small, anonymous texts from unknown numbers. A photo of her and Cole at the hotel in Chicago. A screenshot of the hotel bill. Then a video. Grainy but damning. Each message ended the same. "Think twice before crossing me again." Julia met him once more, by her own choice. A parking garage in Brentwood. Midday, her sunglasses a shield. Cole stood by a black Maserati, the smirk back in full force. "Miss me? You're not as clever as you think," she said coldly. Sending threats leaves a trail. "I didn't send anything," he said casually. "Might be someone else. Anyone who saw us in Chicago. You're the one with so much to lose." She folded her arms. "You're sloppy. You moved too fast with the accounts." I've already looped in a forensic accountant. Walk away now and maybe they'll go easier. Cole's smile didn't falter. You're bold. I like that. But you're bluffing. Julia leaned in. Then call it. There was a flicker in his eyes, hesitation. She could see it now. He hadn't expected her to be this strategic. He thought she was still the woman who'd slept with a stranger out of boredom and loneliness. He hadn't realized she was the one who kept Ethan's empire running from behind the scenes. The one who handled every legal deal, every compliance clause. The woman who had a plan for everything. You always wanted control, she said quietly. But you handed me the power the moment you let me see your weakness, ego. Cole didn't respond. He just turned and walked away. This time, Julia was the one watching him disappear. A week later, the SEC opened a quiet investigation into a shell company linked to Cole's alias. Julia fed them just enough to sink him without ever revealing her own involvement. She didn't want him in prison for the affair. She wanted him ruined for trying to threaten her family. By fall, Cole Harrington had vanished from Los Angeles society. No press release. No explanation. Just gone. 6 months later. Ethan stood on stage at a Forbes Tech Summit, accepting the Innovator of the Year award. Julia watched from the audience, her diamond bracelet glinting under the lights. Cameras flashed. Applause thundered. The perfect couple, the perfect life. But as Ethan held the award aloft, he turned to her with a proud, grateful smile and a whisper in her ear once he stepped down. I know, by the way. Julia stiffened. Know what? About Cole. About Chicago. Her heart stopped. How? He took her hand gently, never losing his smile for the cameras. I saw the hotel charge the day after you got home. I looked him up. I saw the text. But I also saw what you did to protect me. To protect us. Julia blinked, stunned. I'm not perfect, he said, voice low. Neither are you, but you fought for this marriage harder than most ever would. Tears burned behind her eyes. I never want to lose you again, Ethan said. So, whatever happened before, we leave it there. Deal. She nodded. Deal. And as the lights swelled and the applause resumed, Julia knew the secret wouldn't be their undoing. It was their rebirth. And the game? She'd already won. As the summit ended, Julia and Ethan walked out together beneath a sky, painted in soft amber hues. To the world, they looked like the perfect power couple, and maybe in some twisted, hard-earned way, they finally were. In the car, Ethan laced his fingers with hers. There's something else, he said softly. I'm selling part of the company. Taking a step back. Julia turned to him, startled. Why? I built this for us, but I forgot to live it with you. His eyes met hers. I don't want us to be business partners. I want us to be partners. A rare warmth unfolded in her chest, something she hadn't felt in years. And you're sure? She asked. I've never been more sure of anything. He squeezed her hand. Let's take a break. Somewhere far from all this, just you and me. Julia smiled, a real, honest smile. I like that. As their driver pulled away, the city lights fading behind them, Julia glanced out the window and caught a shadowed figure watching from across the street. Cole, his face partially hidden, expression unreadable. But this time, he wasn't smirking. He turned and disappeared into the crowd. No threats, no words. A ghost. Julia exhaled, leaned back, and closed her eyes. Whatever game Cole thought they were playing, it was over. Because sometimes the deadliest move isn't revenge. It's walking away with everything they wanted and more.